Hello, friends. This is Ananya from Audio Stories for You. Here I am back again with another story of Satyajit Ray. The story is Anukul. Let's begin. Anukul. He's got a name, hasn't he? Nikunja Babu asked. Oh, yes, he has. What is it? Anukul. A robot supplying agency had opened in Chorangi about 6 months ago. Nikunja Babu had always wanted a mechanical servant. His business had lately been doing rather well, so he could now afford to fulfill his little desire. Nikunja Babu looked at the robot. It was an android, which meant that it looked exactly like an ordinary human being, although it was really a machine. It had a pleasant appearance. Its age was around 22. What kind of work will this robot do? Nikunja Babu asked. The man behind the counter lit a cigarette and replied, He'll do more or less everything an ordinary servant does. The only thing he doesn't know is how to cook. Apart from that, he can do the washing and cleaning, make the beds, make tea, open doors and windows, just about everything. But don't send him out. He can manage everything in the house. But he couldn't go and do your shopping. And you must talk to him politely. He expects one to say please and thank you. He's not ill-tempered, I hope. No, you'll find him troublesome only if you raise your hand. Our robots cannot stand physical assault. There is no likelihood of that. But suppose someone gives him a slap. What will he do? He will take revenge. How? He might use the middle finger of his right hand. He can give a high voltage electric shock with that finger. Can that result in death? Certainly. And the law cannot do anything about this, for a robot cannot be punished like a normal human being. But I must say there has never been a case like this so far. Does he sleep at night? No. Robots don't sleep. What does he do then all night? He just sits quietly in the corner. Robots don't lack patience. Does he have a mind? Robots can, at times, feel and understand things that a human being can't. But then, not all robots are so sensitive. It's a matter of luck. Really, only time can tell how gifted a robot is. Nikunja Babu turned towards the robot and said, Anukul, you have no objection to working for me, have you? Why should I object? Said Anukul in a perfectly normal voice. He was wearing a blue striped shirt, black shorts. His neatly brushed hair had a side parting. His complexion was fair. His teeth bright and clean, and his mouth parted in a half smile. His whole appearance inspired confidence. Come along then. Nikunja Babu's Maruti van was waiting outside. He paid for Anukul by check and came out with him. Anukul's movements were no different from those of an ordinary man. Nikunja Babu lived in Salt Lake. He was not married. A few of his friends dropped in to play cards in the evening. They had already been told about the arrival of a mechanical servant. Nikunja Babu had, in fact, done some research before acquiring Anukul. Quite a number of people amongst the upper classes of Calcutta had already got robots to work for them. Mr. Mansukhani, Girja Bose, Pankaj Datta Roy, Mr. Chabaria. Everyone said they were very satisfied and that their servant gave them no trouble at all. Our Jivanlal does everything immediately, just as he is told, said Mr. Mansukhani. I am convinced he is Not just a machine, he must have a real brain and a heart. Nikunj Babu formed a similar opinion within 7 days. Anukul's way of working was just perfect. He seemed to have grasped fully the logical link, one task and another. If asked whether the water for his bath was ready, he would not only bring the water immediately but would also provide a soap and a towel for his master. He would then get his master's clothes and shoes and everything else that might he needed. Then he did everything so willingly, and there was no question of being impolite to him. Nikunja Babu's friends took a little time to get used to Anukul, especially Vinay Prakashri. He often spoke rather rudely to his own servants, and on one occasion he happened to address Anukul a little harshly. Anukul did not lose his calm. "If you are rude to me, old boy," he said quietly, "I'm going to be rude to you." Vinay Babu did not make the same mistake again. Nikunja Babu formed a very good relationship with Anukul. Anukul began to do things for him without being told. His master found this surprising, but recalled that the man in the robot supplying agency had indeed told him that certain robots had something akin to the brain and could think. Anukul must belong to that category. But what was most difficult to believe was that Anukul did not sleep at all. He was so much like a real human being. Surely he slept a little at night? Nikunja Babu decided to check this out one night. Just as he peeped into Anukul's room, he heard Anukul say, "Do you want anything, sir?" Embarrassed, Nikunja Babu said no and retraced his steps. It was possible to converse with Anukul on a wide range of subjects. He appeared to know a lot about sports, cinema, theatre, literature. He seemed to be better informed about most things than his master. Nikunja Babu marveled at the extent of his knowledge and the skill of the robot makers. But all good things come to an end. Nikunja Babu happened to make a few wrong moves in his business, and within a year of Anukul's arrival, his financial situation deteriorated. He continued to pay the higher charges for Anukul, which was 2000 rupees a month. But if his financial situation did not improve, who knew when he would have to stop? The robot supplying agency had told him Anukul would be taken away if the monthly payment was not made. Clearly Nikunja Babu would have to be very careful with his money. But something happened at this time to upset all his plans. One fine day, Nikunja Babu's uncle turned up. "I was getting rather bored in Chandranagar all by myself, so I thought I would come and spend a few days with you," he said. This uncle of Nikunja Babu, called Nabaran Banerjee, came occasionally to stay with his nephew. Nikunja Babu had lost his father many years ago, and Nabaran was the only uncle left among the three he had. The irascible old man, he was reported to have made a lot of money as a lawyer, although that was impossible to tell from the way he lived. The man was indeed a miser. "You are very welcome to spend a few days here, uncle," said Nikunja Babu. "But I must tell you something right away. I have now got a mechanical servant. You must have heard of the companies that are making robots in Calcutta." "Yes, I have seen the advertisements. But where is your servant from? You know I am a little fuzzy in this matter." Is this new servant doing the cooking? No, 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 no. Reassured Nikunja Babu, I have still got the old cook. So you need not worry. The new one is called Anukul, and you must speak to him politely. He doesn't like being shouted at. Doesn't like it? No, he doesn't. Do I have to act according to his likes and dislikes? That applies to everyone and just not just you. But you won't find fault with his work. Why did you have to get into this mess? I have told you already, he's a very good worker. Well, then call him. Let's see what he's like. Anukul, Nikunjababu called out. Anukul arrived immediately. Meet my uncle, said Nikunjababu. He's going to stay here for some time. Very good, sir. My goodness, he speaks just like a man, exclaimed Nabaran Banerjee. All right then, could you please give me some hot water? I would like to have a bath. It's turned a little cool after the rains. But I am so accustomed to having a bath twice a day. Yes, sir. Anukul left to carry out the instructions. Nabaran Babu's arrival did not result in any improvement in his nephew's financial status. All that happened was that Nikunja Babu's friends stopped coming in the evening. It was not proper to play rummy or poker in front of an uncle. Besides, Nikunja Babu could no longer afford to gamble. It was difficult to tell how long his uncle would stay this time. He usually came and went just as he liked. This time it seemed as though he was nicely settled for a while, and the reason was Anukul. The mechanical servant appeared to be attracting and repulsing him equally. He could not deny that Anukul's efficiency as a worker was irreproachable. At the same time, however, he could not quite accept the fact that one was expected to be careful in one's behavior when dealing with a mere servant. He said to his nephew one day, Nikunja, this servant of yours is giving me a lot of trouble at times. Why? What happened? Nikunja Babu asked, worried. I was reciting a few lines from the Gita the other day, and that damned servant had the cheek to correct what I was saying. Even if the words I had spoken were wrong, it's not for him to correct me, is it? Isn't that a bit too much? I felt like giving him a tight slap, but I managed to control myself with difficulty. No, no, uncle, you must never raise your hand. It can have a disastrous effect. The suppliers told me so. The best thing would be not to speak at all when he is around. Nabaran Babu went away muttering to himself. As the days went by, Nikunja Babu's earnings grew less and less. He began to find it very difficult to make the monthly payment for Anukul. He could not help mentioning this to Anukul one day. Anukul, my business isn't doing very well. I know. Yes, perhaps you do. But what I don't know is how long I shall be able to keep you. I don't wish to part with you. And yet, let me think about it. Think about what? If there's a solution to the problem, how is your thinking going to help? Running a business is not your line, is it? No, but do let me try. All right? But it may not be possible for me to keep you for very long. I just wanted to warn you. Yes, sir. 2 months passed. It was a Sunday. Nikunja Babu's careful calculations showed that he could, at the very most, afford to keep Anukul for another 2 months. After that, he would have to look for a human servant. In fact, he had already started looking for one. The whole thing depressed him no end. And to make matters worse, it was pouring cats and dogs. Nikunja Babu pushed the newspaper aside and was about to call Anukul to ask for a cup of tea when Anukul appeared. What is it, Anukul? There's been an accident, sir. Accident? What happened? Your uncle was standing near the window and singing a Tagore song about the rain. He got some of the words wrong, so I felt obliged to correct him. He got so angry at this that he gave me a slap. So I had to pay him back. Pay him back? Yes. I had to give him a high voltage shock. Does that mean he's dead? But there was a clap of thunder just as I have give him the shock. Yes, I heard it. So you need not tell people the real reason for his death. But don't worry, sir. This will do you a lot of good. And so it did. 2 days after his uncle's death, Nikunj Babu got a call from his uncle's lawyer, Bhaskar Bose. Nabaran Babu had left all his property to his nephew. Its total value was a little more than 1 million rupees. Thank you.